Hey everyone, Rushlock here, and today's post is the Frigate Swarm by Rixx Javix. This was also recommended by Xenon Text, and if you have any that you want to recommend as well, feel free to do so on Discord. Just tag it Rushlock and I'll add it to my list of things to do. Also, if you're enjoying these read-throughs and kind of commentaries that go with them, please hit the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner here on YouTube, and leave a comment and hit the like button if you're able to. That's huge and very much appreciated. Let's get into it. The Frigate Swarm. That's me and a Thanatos during last year's free-for-all, trying to stay alive against the other nearly 1,000 pilots, 977 pilots, and local. It did not go well for me, to say the least. Over the years, much to the eternal detriment of my killboard, I've undocked marshals, nags, thannies, nightmares, and much, much more during these events for the entertainment of the participants, and I suspect I'll do so again in March. As will others. It's a tremendous amount of fun. For many players, it might be the only time they ever get the chance to lock up a carrier or a dread and pew it. EVE can be a dark and formidable place. Back in 2010, I decided to try and host an event called the Death Race. I ended up hosting 3 death races, and along the way started hosting these Frigate free-for-all events as well. While this upcoming event is the 9th in a row under the banner of Stay Frosty and ABA, a band apart, there were 4 other free-for-alls before that. 3 under the Tusker banner while I was with them. All in all, I believe this upcoming event will be the 15th event I've hosted in New Eden since I first had the idea. And those first players showed up to race each other through Providence. The key to that kind of long-term success is simple: honesty and integrity. I tell it like it is, and I keep my word. Despite being an evil pirate inside of EVE, out here in the real world, I'm not actually a pirate. And inside of EVE, my word, our code if you will, is one of honesty and integrity. When people donate to these events, the ISK goes into the event. When people donate ships, the ships get used. There is a fund that gets refreshed every year and is used solely for these events. It isn't a huge fund, but it works. Donations are what drives the ultimate success of these types of events, and the fact that people can trust me to mean what I say and deliver what I promise. My word is extremely important to me. Having hosted so many events over the years, I can tell you that it is more complicated than you can imagine. It takes planning and months of preparation to get ready. Last year, Johnny Oxford stepped up and decided to build and donate 20,000 fully fitted frigates to our events. What you might not know is that he contracted those to me in HighSec, next door to Oleta. So it was me and a bowhead moving 150 or so fully fitted frigates, one jump at a time into low-sec, for an entire week. Others helped, of course, but I made the majority of those trips personally. That's just one example. Another thing you might not know is that the free-for-all events used to draw hundreds of players back in the day. When we started, we'd be lucky to have 300 people in local at a time. We'd build to maybe 2,500 or so frigates. Back then, we'd have the quote-unquote fitting parties, and fit each one at a time. It would take hours for 4 or 5 of us to fit up 2,500 or 4,500 frigates. Thank Bob for multi-fit. But there was one other thing that kept the event from exploding in popularity back then, and that problem was the NPC stations we ran them out of. The arrival of the quote-unquote tether was what made the free-for-all events explode, if you'll pardon the pun. The arrival of structures saw the event turn from hundreds of participants into thousands of participants. It is what allowed the event to become the record-breaking phenom that it became, the largest battle in all of LowSec for the past 3 years running. The impact of the tether in universal access cannot be overstated. Not only do the structures provide tether on the undock, they also provide universal access to all players. In March, when we host the event again, our fellow Cal Mill pilots will not be able to access the station in Oleta. The closest system they can dock in will be 2 jumps away in a goes. There is literally nothing I can do about that, nor can I generate a safe undock for our participants. We will have instant undock bookmarks available in local for everyone, but I know from experience that not everyone will use them. And eventually all fights break down into brawls anyway, which is all part of the event. This is EVE after all. So no, the loss of our structures in Oleta is not the end of the free-for-all events. Of course not. But when it happened, I was the only person who could see what it meant for the events, what the loss of the tether and the access meant to our participants, the impact it would have on the nature of the events and the ability of the players to enjoy themselves. And while I'm certain the event will be a lot of fun and it will go off without a hitch, or at least with the normal amount of hitches that anything you do in EVE comes along with, please pardon me for giving a shit. Eve can be a dark and formidable place, but it doesn't always have to be. So, I am the last person to claim to understand mechanics of stations and access and tether and when tether works and when it doesn't, and mix in faction warfare and things of that nature. I don't understand why Cal Mill pilots won't have access to NPC stations, I'm guessing. They can dock will be 2 jumps away. Why can't they just dock in the structure that he's talking about? Again, I'm not saying this is a fix or that they can't. I'm just saying that I don't have the context or the understanding to know what that's about. I'm aware that it has something to do with the Cal Mill tag, like faction warfare. But I'm under the impression that supposedly, it happens in March though. Because it's supposed to be this quarter that we get the update for being able to in and out of, supposedly being able to join faction warfare without messing up our current Corp Alliance standings, I guess. But that wouldn't affect this. Anyway, I guess my question is, and this is going to be obviously an overstatement, why not just move it? Why does it have to be in that one system specifically? Is that just tradition? Is it like, we've always ran it here, so we want to keep running it here forever? Or does it not matter where the event is ran because the issue is the faction warfare tag for pilots that won't be able to dock where they've previously been able to dock? Is that because of some kind of change in Uprising? I don't know. But hopefully that will start a conversation. If you guys can answer these questions for me, please put the answers in the comments down below. And so that's the easiest way for me to engage and keep track of the information being thrown at me, because I'm sure more than one person will have more than one thing to tell me. And if I can read all the comments in one area, it's easier to keep it all in one place. But thank you again, Xenon, for the recommendation. Thank you again, Rixx, for the post. And we'll see you in the next one.